There's a man you probably recognize. He doesn't have a famous face, but you know him. He's the guy who made it, drives the sleek car, lives on the top floor, earned the applause. His name is David, and by 26, David had what most people dream of: a six-figure salary, a luxury apartment, status, power, a future paved in gold. But late at night, under the soft city lights, David was quietly breaking, because while he had everything he thought he wanted, he felt nothing inside. His mornings looked perfect on the outside. Wake up, fresh espresso, crisp suit, news headlines and notifications flashing across his phone. But inside, he dreaded it. The pressure, the expectations, the constant need to perform. Every smile was a mask. Every handshake, a transaction. Every accomplishment, a temporary fix. He'd scroll social media and see others smiling, thriving, supposedly. And instead of feeling joy, he felt shame. Because deep down, David wasn't living. He was performing for an invisible audience, chasing a finish line that kept moving. This wasn't depression. This wasn't laziness. This was emptiness. And it's more common than anyone admits. One Friday night, David found himself alone. Not because there wasn't a party to attend or an invitation waiting, but because for the first time, he didn't have the energy to pretend. He sat in his $5,000 Italian leather chair, sipping a glass of something expensive. The city skyline twinkled outside like artificial stars. No noise, no music, no screens, just silence. And in that stillness, something broke loose. A thought, a whisper, a wound that had gone numb but never healed. Is this all there is? That question didn't just rattle him. It shattered him, because it revealed a truth he had been too busy to confront. He had spent his whole life building a life that looked good, but never stopped to ask if it felt good. He chased validation. He mastered image. But when he looked in the mirror that night, he didn't recognize the man staring back. He realized he didn't know what made him happy. He didn't know what lit him up. He had no answer to the most basic human question: what do I love? Instead, he had built an identity around what the world told him to love. He had mastered success, but forgotten himself. In his journal that night, David wrote a single sentence: I don't know who I am without the performance. That confession hurt more than any failure ever could, because deep down he knew he wasn't alone. So many people are silently asking the same question. We live in a world that teaches us to achieve happiness, but never how to feel it, to accumulate more, but never slow down enough to enjoy it. We celebrate the hustle, but we ignore the cost. And for David, the cost had become too high. In that moment of stillness, David didn't have a plan. He didn't have a fix, but he had a feeling, a faint whisper that maybe, just maybe, the life he built wasn't the life he needed. And that realization was the beginning of everything. Days passed. The ache stayed. Then one afternoon, walking aimlessly through the city, David turned down an alley. There, between the bakery and the graffiti-covered wall, was a tiny bookstore he'd never noticed. Inside, time slowed. Dusty shelves, dim lighting, the smell of old pages. That's where he met the old man. Calloused hands, weathered eyes, peaceful smile. They talked for a while, about books, about life. And eventually David, half joking, asked, "Do you know the secret to happiness?" The old man didn't hesitate. "Yes, but most people are too busy to hear it." David smirked. Too busy for what? To listen, to breathe, to notice the miracle of being alive. Happiness isn't hidden in the future. It's buried in the present, underneath the noise. Those words haunted David. He couldn't unhear them. That night, He stared at his calendar. Dozens of meetings, deadlines, events, all back to back, and something inside him snapped. He deleted his social apps, requested leave from work, canceled everything non-essential. Friends thought he was having a breakdown, but for David, it was a breakthrough. For the first time in his adult life, he stopped running. He booked a flight. No itinerary, no luxury hotels, just a backpack, a notebook, and silence. First stop, a small village in the mountains of Peru, then a monastery in Thailand, then the quiet coastline of Portugal. And slowly, one sunrise at a time, David began remembering what joy felt like. He watched children play with a stick and a tire, and laugh harder than he ever had. He shared meals with locals who had nothing, but gave him everything. He walked through fields, swam in rivers, stared at stars without trying to photograph them, and he started to realize he had been rich in money, but poor in presence, surrounded by people, but starved of connection. He hadn't been living, he'd been escaping. In a small Himalayan village, David met an elder with skin like bark and eyes like sunlight. David asked, "Aren't you afraid of missing out? Of being forgotten?" The elder laughed gently. "I wake up with the sun. I eat with my family. I pray. I listen to the wind. And when I go to sleep, I have no regrets. How could a man with peace miss out on anything?" And that's when it hit David. Sitting by a quiet river in Vietnam, David wrote this in his journal. Happiness isn't a destination. It's a decision. It's saying, this moment is enough. I am enough. Right here. Right now. He began to practice that every morning. He stopped obsessing over his appearance. He stopped chasing the next big thing. He stopped performing. And in that stillness, something new emerged. Gratitude. Months later, David returned to the city. Same traffic, same noise, same skyline. But everything felt different because he was different. He noticed the barista's smile, the warmth of sunlight, the laughter of strangers. He started talking to his neighbors, cooking slowly, walking more, rushing less. He didn't go back to the old job. He started a small creative studio. Nothing flashy, but it lit him up inside. He made less, but lived more. Because now, David wasn't chasing success for happiness. He was choosing happiness regardless of success. We've been lied to. We were told happiness comes after we win, after we prove, after we achieve. But that lie is costing us our lives. Because while we chase tomorrow, we're missing today. And the truth is, happiness is not found in what you have. It's found in how deeply you're willing to live. So I'll ask you now, are you living your dream or someone else's? Are you present or just productive? When was the last time you breathed, not to stay alive, but to feel alive? Happiness isn't hiding. It's waiting, right here, right now. And it's not behind the next promotion, not after the next milestone, not once you finally get your life together. It's in the small things. Waking up without an alarm, calling your mom, watching the sunset without documenting it. David once thought happiness was a reward. Now he knows it's a skill, one you practice, one you choose, every day, even on the hard days, even when nothing feels exciting, even when the world says you're not enough. Because the secret of happiness is this: you already have what you're looking for. You just have to slow down long enough to see it. If this story stirred something in you, don't ignore it. That ache you feel, that restlessness, it's not weakness. It's your soul whispering, there's more to life than this. So tonight, try something different. Don't scroll. Don't distract. Just sit still, breathe, and ask yourself, what have I been chasing that I already have? You might discover that the life you've been searching for has been quietly waiting for you to notice it all along. Clapperboard watch next. Become the person you pretend to be, overcome fear, and fake it till you make it. Your journey isn't over. It's just beginning.